We on? Here we are again, guys. Ruth Ross from Yonkers Voice and Ruth Wolfers from Westchester County Legislator District 15. As you all know, Ruth is running for re-election. Ruth, thank you for taking the time to sit with us.
Yeah.
It's important for the people of Yonkers, Bronxville, to know what you have done, what you aspire to do. So let's start by telling us, not long ago when you were running, the things that were your goal, the promise that you made, the things that you wanted to do, the things that you could not do, and why. So let's start with the positive stuff, the things that you accomplished.
Okay, it's a big question. Thank you, Rue, and thank you to your viewers for tuning in to talk about this position and my efforts at re-election. I'm Ruth Walter. I am the current county legislator for District 15. I ran in 2019 and beat a 14-year incumbent. And, you know, I did it by saying we need better representation from what we had before. And so, to your point, what has changed? You know, I think one of the best things I'm very proud of is the information that we've been able to get out to people who are on social media and on my newsletter. And this information, especially during COVID, was accurate and timely. And we have to link back to the very beginning of COVID when there were lots of non-scientific based information. You know, when we first started COVID, people thought it's a hand washing issue, it's a disinfecting issue, it's a surfaces issue. But in fact it is aerosolized virus, and we have all changed. You know, we're looking at double masking now. And so information that was accurate and timely about health issues was one of the things that really important to my constituents. The second thing was information for small businesses. So we're sitting here, Rue, at the in the cheese shop where I am co-owner with my husband. We've been in business for 11 years. We've hired and employed over 100 people, mostly young people, high school and college, giving them that important first job. And businesses are really struggling in COVID. We gave out information about how to get PPP, how to apply for CARES grants from the county, and I'm really proud that we gave information that was allowing owners to apply for help so that they could get on a path to survival.
Now, Ruth, I hate to interrupt you, but let's not go too far, because otherwise you're going to answer all the questions before I even do. And I want to be the one asking those questions. Okay. Now, guys, just...
So I'm proud of those things.
Yes. Now, but those things have been going on for the last 12 months.
12 months, correct.
And you've been the Westchester County Legislator for how long?
12 months.
For 12 months, only 12. Time goes fly. Fast.
It's been a busy year, Rue. I mean, we were not expecting when we got signed in January 2020 that we were going to be sitting here in February 2021, wearing a mask, socially distanced, you know, home for the holidays, not going to see our friends and family. This has been a really difficult year for everybody.
It's a nightmare. Guys, but before we go much further, let me tell you, if you are a cheese lover like I am, this is the place to come and get your cheese. You know, you have a large variety of cheeses, correct?
We do.
So what's the address? It's 107...
Pondfield Road. We've been in this location for 11 years. We have cheeses from all over the world. As you can see, most small businesses have a room like this where the bills get paid and the payroll gets called in. We've got files everywhere and lots of activity on specials and things that we want to promote. I have a great team here, 2 young people who started just as counter people, now are the managers. I believe in promoting within, people get to know the cheeses. Even at like the age of 16, you can know more about cheese than an adult, and that makes kids, young people, really happy to come to work. And this is a multi-billion-dollar industry, cheese. And we also sell charcuterie and crackers and all the other things that people love. And I'm proud of this business, of what we've built. And it was a real launching pad for my political career because I know my community really well. I know people who come in here, they come from Yonkers, they come from Mount Vernon, they come from Bronxville, and they tell me about their lives, they tell me what's going on in their communities. And so in my 2019 campaign, we said strong communities and good neighbors. And that's the idea, that the county legislature is the place where it isn't just one municipality. The city of Yonkers is 200,000 people. It's a big, big city. But they've tacked on Bronxville, and then you can make these bridges. You can make these connections. We share the sewer system. We share the roads. We share the community college, the jail. There's lots of functions that the county provides that cross municipal lines. And that's what's so exciting about being a county legislator. You're not just looking at one community. And some of my colleagues represent 5, 6, 7 communities. And so our job is to get to know everybody who lives in District 15, try to help them, and try to help them connect to their government.
Now, Ruth, before we go much further, let's explain to the people who are watching us, what is your job definition? What are you responsible for?
Yeah.
Okay, lots of people think that you are responsible for everything.
I know.
There is a problem in the city, they might want to call you.
They do call me.
That happens in Yonkers.
Yeah.
Even though you live in the city and you are probably concerned with those things,
yes,
but you have a job definition. There is things that you handle.
I do.
And I think information and education is extremely important for people to know how government works.
Exactly. So one of the things in New York State, we have lots of levels of government. And partly that's because people want to know their elected officials. We have the city of Yonkers, we have the village of Bronxville, we have the town of Eastchester, we have the Westchester County, we have New York State, we have the federal government. And so that's a lot of things to navigate. County does not really do schools. The county doesn't do income tax. You know, these are different levels of government. The county doesn't do unemployment insurance. But when my legislative aide, somebody calls and says, I need help with my insurance, my unemployment insurance, we connect them to the correct level of government. If they say we need some cleanup, DPW in the city of Yonkers, we connect them to the right people. So the area of the government that is Westchester County is, you know, legislating issues that affect the Westchester County government itself, like our police. We don't tell the Yonkers Police Department what to do, but we have our own police department that we have a say on. We talk about their budget, we talk about their staffing levels. That's in our purview as the legislature. We can pass laws that affect everybody in Westchester County in a certain particular way. So we passed something, not when I was a legislator, but before, called Ban the Box. So that means if you come to a job like mine and you want to fill out an application, they no longer have on the application, have you ever been convicted of a crime? And that doesn't mean that I can't ask that question in the interview. What it means is your application gets an interview. You don't just throw it in the garbage because I don't want to deal with this person. We believe in second chances in Westchester County.
Now, before we go much further, let's make it clear to the people who are watching that your legislative aide, which is right behind us, behind the camera, very bright young lady, she's an important component of your team.
She is.
Because you don't handle everything, and she might be the gatekeeper deciding, okay, this is something you handle, or is this something that should go elsewhere?
Correct.
How important is her job?
Such a good question, Ruth. Thank you. So, you know, we're a team, and I represent 55,000 people, and that's a lot of people to connect with. We have neighborhood organizations, we have nonprofits, we have all these different kinds of groups together, and they address their own issues, and then they converse with me. So one of the best things that Sarah does is manage my calendar, because I am on Zooms all day like everybody else. If it weren't for COVID, I'd be in people's you know, meeting halls and talking to them, but I want to make sure people are safe. And Sarah is a wonderful part of this team because she answers questions. We are navigating this system. We're figuring out who's the best person to talk about the bus routes. Somebody doesn't, you know, feel like their bus station. We run the bus, the Westchester County. You know, we need it to be have snow removal. You know, these are the things that people want to know. How do you connect to the services that we're paying for with our taxes, right? So we all, taxes are a hot button issue, but you don't come into a store and say, I want a cup of coffee and I'm leaving. You pay for the service, and you want to make sure that service is something that you're satisfied with. And I know about customer satisfaction, and I feel the same way. If you're paying your taxes, whether that's sales tax, everybody pays sales tax, whether it's property taxes, not everybody pays it directly, but if you're a renter, you're paying property taxes as part of your rent. Those are services that you are paying for, police, fire, roads, that you want to be satisfied with. And that's our job, is to make people feel like their services are good because their taxes are being well spent.
Now, sustainable energy. How important is this topic to you? There's a conversation going on everywhere, locally, county-wise.
It's great.
To you, what is it, and what are we doing about that?
So I start with the conservation part of energy. I think that one of the most important things we can do is to make sure that our buildings are energy efficient. We see places like Europe, where they have really installed a lot of triple paned windows to keep the heat inside and the cool inside. We see in Europe, they do a lot of shades over windows so that they don't heat up so much. And Americans really don't pay attention so much to conservation. And so I think people should remember that part. It was from the 70s, and I think it was Jimmy Carter. He was wearing a sweater, and everybody thought, but turning your thermostat down a little bit in the winter and turning it up a little bit in the summer, so it's not 62 degrees when you walk in from work and it's been cold in your apartment all day. So conservation, I think, is really important, and not enough people talk about it. Don't leave your devices plugged in. But those are things that people can do at home. At a county level, we're doing an amazing job putting in solar on the bus depot in the Beeline bus depot in Yonkers. We're looking at solar for many, many rooftop installations. And then there's organizations like Sustainable Westchester, which the city of Yonkers just signed up for yesterday, Westchester Power. And we're trying to get people interested in looking at their bills and trying to work with better producers. Solar panels, getting solar farms, energy to our businesses and homes. Because, energy fuels our economy. If we don't have enough energy, we don't have an economy that can grow.
Now, as you know, we are live, and people are watching us and asking questions.
Okay.
This is a question for Michael Scott. I don't know what the question is.
Oh, we've talked before. Michael Scott and I are on LOHUD. So I know what he's going to say. Solar sales, I get it.
Now, this is can you ask her about Lafayette's son? Does that mean anything to you? Well, Scott, maybe you need to explain a little bit more about your question so I know what you're talking about, and the Westchester County Legislator also know what you're referring to. That's the question from him. So that's about the question. Now,
is this about energy? Because yesterday
no, it's not about energy.
He said solar panels are
Lafayette's son, I don't know how does that connect to energy. Do you know?
I don't think it has an energy connection.
There is no connection.
Yeah.
Crime in your county.
Yeah.
How are you involved in trying to reduce crime in our county? We can see that crime is up everywhere, not just in Westchester County, not just in Yonkers, it's up. Some people are blaming it on COVID. Some people are saying, no, crime is going up. How do you see it? And what are the legislators, including you, doing to reduce or change things that people are held accountable?
Yeah.
Because that's a big combination here. It's crime, bail reform.
Yeah.
Some people are blaming crime going up on bail reform. What's your take on that?
So bail reform was a state initiative. I'm a county legislator, so I don't, like as I said to you before, I don't, our job is not to regulate the city of Yonkers police or the city of Buffalo police. That's a state function. I was the court clerk in the village of Bronxville Justice Court, and I saw some very, wasteful bail experiences. So for example, there was a homeless man who was accused of trespassing because he was asleep in a building. So he couldn't make the $100 bail. So he went to the jail for 6 or 7 weeks, because the way that the courts work is you put somebody, who doesn't make bail, whether it's a murder suspect or a homeless person, and you put them, you say, here's the bail you must meet, and if you're rich and you've murdered somebody, you can meet bail and go home. And if you're poor and you're a homeless person, you sit in Valhalla for 6 or 7 weeks, because it isn't adjudicated right away, right? The judge says, this is what you've been accused of, here's your bail, and then come back. And every week you would come back in chains from the jail, and that's a lot of taxpayer dollar, and it's a lot of, I think of bail reform for small, nonviolent offenses as it's really an anti-poverty program, because when you take somebody out of their community who can't make bail because they're poor, then you're basically disrupting their life. They sometimes lose their job, sometimes they lose their education. And remember, they haven't been convicted of a crime. They've only been accused of a crime. And our system says you may be accused of a crime, but you're actually innocent until you have been proven guilty. And I think for poor people specifically, this is a hardship that was really unjust. Mostly black and brown people, sitting in jail for many, but not all. Certainly, other parts of the state, they had these problems. So, I think it's a state issue. If there's some crimes, I think they reformed it. They reformed the reform that, especially domestic violence. They want to be able to say, there's a whole group of people who have been unfairly imprisoned because they were poor.
Now, Ruth, I've been doing this for a while, for 14 years, and I have seen that lots of people, when they vote for somebody, they very often they don't vote for the job that person is supposed to be doing. In that capability, how would you say, in that responsibility of what you are being elected for.
Yes.
They vote based on, do I like the person?
Right.
Do I trust the person? Does this person has a view that goes in line with my view,
Sure.
regardless?
Sure.
Okay, so I'm asking you those questions because lots of people want to know how you think
Right.
about those subjects. Bail reform, it's state.
It's a state,
But
yeah.
they
Yeah.
want to know how you think about that.
Right, and as a court clerk, a former court clerk, I just, I think that was my view, was that this was a sad way to punish people before they'd even been convicted. I think some of it has been very positive.
Now, going forward, Ruth, what are your plans? Okay, hopefully COVID-19 will be behind us soon, I hope. Okay? What are your plans for the county? Let's say COVID is a non-issue. What are the things that you're looking forward to work on and make your county a better place?
So I'm the chairman of the Energy and Health Committee, the Environment and Health Committee. I also serve on 4 other committees.
Which are?
So that's Economic Development, Planning, and Energy. That's all one committee. Budget and Acquisitions, and Parks and Recreation, and Public Works and Transportation. So I'm interested in all those things, and I signed up and asked to be on all those committees because this is a huge government. It's $2.1 billion, and we have many, many services that a lot of people don't know about. For example, the Beeline bus, that's run by the county. And I want to understand better about transportation and how we can get more people to ride transportation and get cars off the road. When I walk in my district, there's a lot of problems with parking, and that's because we don't have enough, east-west links between, say, Metro North and, the Harlem line and the Hudson line. And so we need to start thinking about infrastructure and building out more ways for people to get around the county. And again, that's a state and a federal issue, but we need to tell our legislators what it is that our cities need and to connect people. And so I'm very interested in working on transportation. I'm also interested, as the chair of the Environment and Health Committee, we've had meetings about black maternal health which is a really big issue in New York State. Many statistics show that black women die in childbirth at much higher rates than white women. And we need to understand institutional racism. Is it poor health outcomes? Is it just, healthcare providers not understanding black women or having biases against it? They have better outcomes when they go to a black doctor, a black nurse, or a black healthcare provider. So in my committee, we had a lot of people coming in to talk about that issue, and then from that, we found an organization called the Nurse Family Partnership that's operating in Yonkers right now. And with my advocacy, we are giving them close to $100,000 to continue programs to outreach for low-income moms. So I'm a mother. I've had 2 children. I'm the youngest of 8. So maternal health really impacted me in my life, and I want to make sure that all women, all people who are expecting, get great care. It's really not okay that we have these health disparities. So that's one thing I would like to work on this year. The environment is really important to me, so we're looking at flood mitigation in my district. We're looking at putting in something called a senior fitness center, so senior citizens can go outside and meet in groups. Specialized equipment for strength and balance. I put that into the capital budget, so that parks are open for more than just high school sports, or like my husband plays soccer at Tibbetts, right? It's a great facility. It's not the whole park. It's a little part of the park, and we want to make sure that other generational activities can happen. So senior fitness parks is a big thing that I want to work on. And listen, we can talk all the things that I work on, but I want you to know that I'm working for this district. I'm working for Westchester as a whole, and this is a job that I love, and I think it's a really great fit. The experiences that I've had, the education that I've had has all made me, really fit for this. This is like a shoe that fits. It really does work well for this re-election campaign and for the work that I'm doing now.
But for you to be re-elected, we have to feel the same.
Yep.
Yes, you're the right person for that job, but we have to agree with you. Now
that's the campaign itself.
Exactly, that's the campaign. Now the question from Michael Scott came back. It's about Lafayette's son and police called on your campaign headquarters.
So there's been some rumor mongering that is not true. I'll just say it like that.
But was the police called or not?
No, that's not true.
So you heard it. Another issue that is very important, I don't know if Bronxville is affected by that,
yeah,
but Yonkers is. It's the homeless and housing.
Yeah.
What is being done to minimize the issue, find housing allocation for those guys that I call the forgotten ones?
Yeah.
It seems like the county forgot about them, like they don't exist. It's about 2 days ago they found a homeless person deceased in a parking lot in Yonkers. For what we hear, the person was thrown out from a shelter. Now, shelter has rules, I don't know the circumstances, but the thing is, we need a better system for those guys that don't have a place to be.
Yeah.
What is the county doing to
So the county houses the homeless. You have a small population that is very visible, but there's a larger population that is being housed currently. And we have shelters, we have drop-in shelters, and you look at an organization like Westhab. They are building supportive housing in Yonkers and elsewhere that basically looks at the population as a worthy and worthwhile group of people to assist. Because listen, we're all in this together, and we need to say the money that we're spending now, we have to make sure that it is adequate and that people have options. And one of the great things about this county executive versus the last county executive is that there is a commitment to affordable housing. There are housing units being built across the county. It's not just in one particular municipality, that will address the fact that we need different levels of housing. We can't just all be in the highest end possible. And developers want to build the most expensive units, but you have to put their feet to the fire and say some of these have to be affordable. And that's been a very successful model in New York City. And you know, a place like Yonkers, New Rochelle, White Plains, they're building great units, but they need that affordable housing piece.
But you know,
again, not the city, I mean, not the county's purview. The county is supporting these organizations to build more affordable housing where it's needed.
Those beautiful apartments that are being built in Yonkers by Alexander Street, a very large percentage of those apartments are one-bedrooms and studios.
Right.
The majority of the people in Yonkers are families.
Sure.
So I don't know how they are thinking that the people of Yonkers, the families in Yonkers, are going to be moving into those apartments if they are not being built for the people of Yonkers.
I think they're not being built for the families.
Neither do I. And the second thing is affordability.
Yeah.
Even those 10 or 15% for the low income, people still have a problem.
Of course.
Okay? And people are leaving Yonkers because they cannot afford to live in Yonkers. And not every homeless is people that don't work. Lots of the homeless are people that cannot afford to live in your county.
Yeah. No, I know. And I think that's why having a program to address affordability, which the county has been very upfront about, and is the right way to say there's a mix of housing needs, there's a mix of housing prices. Housing is, like, to me, like food and electricity. It's a basic human right. We have to figure this out. But, you know, listen, legislating is a team sport. It's not about one person saying, this is my decision and I'm going to fix this. It's about working together collaboratively with nonprofits like West Hab and others that are out there working. Rose Noonan is a housing advocate. She sends out information about, you know, there's senior housing in this community. Sign up here. There's, you know, family-sized units. Sign up here. And every time you build, you know, affordable housing, you get pressure off of the other units, right? So there's fewer people that need these units. We want to make sure that everybody has a chance. But it's a long-term process. It takes a long time to build anything, and we're on the right track. You know, Westchester County is on the right track. We have a great county executive. They did a housing needs assessment. 11,000 units they believe we need in this county.
This is another statement from Sadie Winter. She called the police and reported that a black man was knocking at her door.
That's just not true.
And she was there alone and scared.
No.
Oh, Karen. Turns out he was there to get paid for helping her campaign.
That's not true. I mean, you can say whatever. I could tell you, you know, a story.
No, it's not me. It's
no,
not,
but I'm just saying, like, anybody can say anything. It's just not true.
So, guys, we asked the question directly, and Ruth is saying that did not happen. It's not true. Rumors?
You know, I think it's like the telephone game you play in school. You know, one person says one thing and then another person and another thing. It's just not true.
So guys, let's stay focused on things that really matter for the county and not, you know, things that, especially when they're not true. So let's focus on things that really matter for us. Transportation.
Yeah.
In Westchester County is a problem for certain places. Mm-hmm. What is the county? What are you doing in regards to that?
So there's a great study that everybody should sign up for. It's a mobility study. We're trying to look at where people are living and where they need to get to. And there's it's on the county. If you sign up for my e-newsletter, it's I can send it to you. And it basically asks. It's like a survey. Like, where do you want to go? Where do you live? Where do you want to go to work? Where do you want to go to shop? And that's a way of finding out where our bus routes are and where they need to be going forward. But without that information, what they look at is ridership. But COVID has been such a terrible year for people riding public transportation.
Showstopper.
So we need to hear from people directly who ride the bus, who would like to ride the bus different places. You know, could we put a bus stop here? Could we have a bus route here? That kind of information that has to be given to the county in order to plan. And planning takes time, and then they will unveil new routes as it seems to be necessary.
Now, Ruth, let's take this opportunity to tell the folks how can they get that newsletter.
Yes.
Maybe your social page.
So you can follow me, Legislator Walter, on Facebook. There's also, if you go to westchesterlegislators.com, you can scroll down and find your legislator. I'm number 15. Yonkers is represented by 4 legislators. There's Jose Alvarado, there's Chris Johnson, there's David Tubiolo, and there's me. And each of us has our own page, and you sign up for e-newsletters. And that's where you send out the information. Did you know that there's an arts program this weekend? Did you know there's lifeguards being hired at the county pools? You know, education, employment opportunities, health information. You know, this is a really important part. My dad was a journalist. I know you're a journalist. It's important that there's accurate information being put out there. And again, there's a lot of places where inaccurate information is being put out. So as a government official, I want to make sure that people have the right information and that it's truthful. And they also maybe, you know, didn't know about these programs, didn't know that there's a place you can help clean up your local park. You know, there's an organization for that, Westchester Parks Foundation. So getting people engaged, again, going back to this idea, you pay your taxes of all kinds. What are you getting for that tax dollar? You know, we have great programs. The libraries are doing amazing job with Zoom for seniors and for kids. They're doing cooking classes and gardening classes. And, you know, this is a time when people feel isolated. And we want to make sure that they continue to reach out. Find your neighbors, find people who like things you like, and connect with them, and that will make everybody's you know, day go smoother. I know we're tired of Zoom, we're tired of videos, but until we can be safe together, you know, we're adapting, we're trying.
Now, I have to correct you on something.
Okay.
Okay. I am not a journalist. I'm just a guy with an iPhone. Okay. Who enjoys doing this, because they're going to eat me alive. Mm-hmm. You're not a journalist, so I have to make that disclaimer.
Yeah.
Just a guy with an iPhone that loves to do this for the community. I like to interview people that are running for election, so you guys can make a decision. Yonkers Voice does not endorse or oppose any candidate. We inform you so you can make your decision. Now, Ruth, we come into a conclusion, okay? And I think it's important to tell people, why should they choose you versus your opponent? It's all about the record, it's about the experience, it's about who I like the best, it's about who do I connect, you know, as a person. What is the criteria that when comes time to say, to vote,
yeah,
that's going to tell me vote for A and not for B,
yeah,
or for B and not for A?
Yeah.
What makes you the best candidate for this job?
So I am hardworking. I am interested in being a public servant, and I'm not in this, you know, for the wrong reasons. I'm in it for the right reasons, which is to help my community, to play on this legislative team. For the first time, Yonkers is represented by 4 Democrats, and we have a Democratic county executive, and that makes people want to help each other. We're not bickering over, you know, who sits where. We're a clean and committed team, and I am very connected to the community, to organizations in the community that want to work for the betterment of the people who live in my district. And you know, I'm a hard worker. I knock on thousands of doors for my campaigns, and you know, when people see what it is that you are offering them, what it is that your values are, and who you are, I think they make that choice again and again and again, because they want somebody who's really dedicated to the job. And I love this job. I think it's an amazing opportunity. I'm incredibly honored to be an elected official, and you know, I look forward to re-election. I think people understand when they go to vote who it is that's working for them.
At the end of the day, that will be your decision. Vote as your conscience dictates. Vote for record, vote for experience, and vote for whoever you believe is going to do the best job for you and for your county. Thank you for watching. Thank you, Ruth, for sitting here and talking to us. Until later. Thank you.